Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while. In today's episode, I want to share with you 4 or 5 key ideas about selling that you probably haven't heard or haven't really considered. These ideas will help you get focused on what it's actually going to take to make sales in your business. Interested? Let's frickin' go. Okay, first of all, consider this. People say to me, Lisa, I'm selling, I'm trying, I've got this offer, I've been posting on social media. I hear these things all the time. And lately I wondered, if you hired a salesperson and you found out they were doing what you were doing to sell, would you be happy? So you find out, okay, they're doing a post every day on social. Okay, you find out they're going networking. Would you think, brilliant, that sounds sufficient. That's probably enough to make sales. Or would you want to know that they had a spreadsheet or a database and they were following up, that they were reaching out and making new connections, that they were putting on webinars and trying to get people onto the webinars, that they were learning how to run ads, or they were going networking and they were the speaker at the networking event? I think it's easy to think that you're working on your business and you're trying to make sales, but if you took yourself out of the equation and put somebody else in and said, do what I've been doing, would you be happy? Because you can also think, all right, I also manage somehow, even though I have no time and I'm so busy, I have also managed to watch 2 entire seasons in this 3 week period. Or I've got no time and I'm really busy, but I have probably spent about 20% of that time writing lists and stressing about things and doing things to make myself feel better. Would you be happy if you really got a look at that diary of somebody else who you were paying to sell and you saw what they were actually doing? Or would you have an opinion on what it would take? If you want, genuinely hit pause now and think, it's a really good exercise. If I hired somebody to sell, what would I expect them to do? Because it's someone else, right? You can expect more of someone else or get them to do harder things than you would necessarily do yourself. That is not a good definition of leadership. It's just a way of getting outside of your own head. If you hired this person and they were going to sell on your behalf, what activities do you know would lead to sales versus what would you class as maybe a bit of marketing and a bit of procrastination? Have a little think on that, and I'm going to give you some ideas to put into the mix. Okay, the first one is the offer has got to be so attractive, so compelling, it's got to deliver the promise that you're making. So I think a lot of people say, oh, Lisa, I've got this coaching program, I've got this online course. And I ask, really, have you thought about the big outcome that the person wants and what they need in order to hit that outcome? And have you really thought about what you can do to help them to do the work? So I talk about straight line through all the time. It's my big group coaching program, teaching people how to get to multiple six figures in sales. There's the content, there's the workbook, and some people do go through that. But on reflection, most people don't, because it's overwhelming. And where do you begin? And how do I log in? And I need to sit down and the doorbell's rung. But if I run a weekly live every Wednesday at 12 o'clock, and people come to 2 or 3 out of every 5 or 6 of those, and I run them every single week religiously, the same ideas that cut across all of that training are going to go in via the weekly lives. So it's the bare minimum they can do to get access to what I'm thinking, what I know works, that harsher reality of this is what it's going to take to win. So it would be easy for me to have a course and leave it. It would be easy for me to have a really basic workbook that just had boxes to fill in and didn't have any narrative around it. But if you actually get a look at the SLT workbook, I've typed up what I know to be the answer for defining who your customer is, building a sales strategy, changing the way you see yourself, doing the activities that will actually lead to sales. It was a lot of work. It took me about 6 months to update it and finalize it, having figured that out for years. So when you're putting your offer together, it's not enough to say, what is everything I need somebody to know? It's not enough to do that. And it's not enough to think, how do I want this to work? And what do I want? You've got to really think about the customer and think, when they buy this, my job is to blow their socks off, help them get a result, and make it as easy as possible for them to actually complete it. So on that basis, some courses that are 30 hours long, it's a real act of courage and discipline on behalf of the creator to bring that down to 15 hours. What would it look like if you condensed all of your learning into the top 6 things in 6 videos that if they watch those in the first month of joining with you, everything else is supplementary, adds depth, it's motivational, does whatever it is you're promising, but these 6 videos are the key. This is what's going to get you moving. Or if you do have a course like that, what is the live element you can introduce? Questions with you, the chance to email you a question, you reply with videos or podcasts just for that community. What are you going to do to make something that is market leading, blow their socks off? They buy it, they actually get a result and they think, I want the next thing. Because that's what you've got to do with your product. With this event series, the Dare to Grow Live series, it's insane. I'm going to talk to you about that in another video, but that event series, what I'm delivering in those workshops is so much more value than the ticket price. So at the time of filming, the ticket price is 35 quid. It's a full day of networking, workshop, motivation, inspiration, strategy. Lunch is included. There's a printed workbook. It's insane. Because when you come back from it, if you think about what a networking event typically feels like and how much people avoid them because of the way they're structured and how they feel when they leave them, if I wanted to introduce a networking event that was different, that blew people's socks off, that would encourage them to take the next step up the ladder with me, I've got to do something that is above and beyond. And the funny thing about those events is they're not profitable, not at all. Those events are not profitable because they're not really events, it's not really a product, it's marketing for the next thing. And I always make sales coming out of the back of those events because, and this is really important, every piece of content, every micro product, every coaching program, every time somebody goes up the ladder with you and gives you money, really what they're doing is saying, I'm willing to take this much of a risk with you, prove yourself. And I know that feels uncomfortable, but that's what's happening. Lisa, I'm willing to spend 35 quid with you and come to this event, prove yourself. All right, Lisa, that was pretty good. I'm willing to spend 750 with you and access this program. Okay, that was pretty good. I'm willing to spend 1,500. I'm willing to spend 5 grand. The people who spend 5 and 10 grand with me have known me for a little while or have gone on a rampage on my content and felt a lift. They felt something, and what they actually felt may or may not have been a result. What they actually felt was, I trust her now. I trust that she knows something and that she can help me. So when you think about your marketing and your product and your offer, it's not enough just to build a sales page and have a great hook and say, this is who my customer is and this is what I want to create and these are my boundaries. That isn't enough in a commercial world. Really got to think about who the customer is, what they need, how you can build something that really delivers on their needs, and how every step of the journey doesn't sell your product. That isn't it. It's how every step of the journey adds trust in that buyer. So even with a piece of content, they're investing time. Oh, that was actually good, that. Yeah, I'll follow her. Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for the next bit of content. Or they see a bit of content and they're like, ChatGPT wrote that, or that's naff, or that's light. And the next time you post, they're not paying attention. Everything you do has got to be useful or practical or move them forward. Otherwise, they will rule you out because competition. There are other people. So, in that sense, with your content and your marketing positioning leading to sales, you've got to think about when someone comes into my world, what is that lift I want to give them? What is the promise I'm making? How can I get them to feel it? My promise is 1, I'll inspire you, I'll lift you up, I'll help you feel like it's possible again. 2, I'll help you face the truth of what it actually takes. And 3, I will give you proper strategies for sales and marketing so that next time you're doing something, you actually have ideas that you can implement. That's what my promise is. And it's the same in the programs. The only difference is how niche the advice is, because the closer you are to me, the more I will understand your business and the more I can give you nuanced ideas and messages that are really specific to you and answer specific questions. And that makes a big difference. So who's that customer? What do they want? How are you going to blow their socks off? And in the marketing that leads up to the sale, how are you building trust so they don't have any fear making that investment with you? You're not tricking, you're not convincing, you're not selling. You're laying the groundwork for an informed decision that says, I'm going to give you this money, Lisa, because I trust that when I do, I will get more than that back. All right? Click the link around the... I'm just kidding. Okay, this second one, and we're talking about how you make sales. We're going to be more specific on the actual selling bit in a second, but listen to this. So in November, December on Google, I've been working on this. I hit page 1 on Google for business coach and I sit right underneath Mr. Tony Robbins. How freaking cool is that? I thought that was badass. When I hit number 2, I've been number 1, 3, but all on page 1 for business coach. I thought that was really cool. Very quickly, inquiries started coming through, and in December, I got 3 cold leads from Google, and they all ticked the box for a 5K coaching program. And I thought, interesting, they've ticked it, they know the price, they put little messages what they were looking for. I was like, wow, these are actually qualified leads of people looking for coaching, training, help, and they know how much it is. So I was really excited. The first person who messaged me ghosted me, didn't reply to any of my messages, and after 2 or 3, I thought, fair play. If you're ready, you're ready, and if you're not, you're not. The second person I had 2 calls with, and in the end, they went with another coach, and I've never had that experience before, guys. You could think, wow, you're arrogant, but just bear with me, okay? You'll understand why in a second. And then the third person, I had 2 calls with her. We've had about 4 or 5 emails back and forth. And this person who, if you are watching this client who's just signed with me, we will laugh about this when you get to work with me a bit more and you see what I'm like. So I think she's one of the first people who's ever signed with me who's ever had actual questions on the contract. So, Lisa, what happens if we don't get on? Lisa, what happens if I can't make a call because of a disaster? Lisa, what about this? Lisa, what about that? And I loved it. I loved getting those questions because, one, I can see that she's a very detailed person and I need to bear that in mind in the coaching. And two, it's just reminded me that because this person came through a cold lead on Google, what don't we have? We don't have trust. And in her emails to me, that was the word she mentioned, how important it is that this is built on trust, and how I've spent money before and it hasn't worked out and it's felt, formulaic and it hasn't been nuanced. And I thought, well, yeah, doesn't this just prove the theory? Now, normally what happens when I get on a discovery call, the discovery call is about 45 minutes, an hour tops, and the person gets on the call and the conversation goes like this: Lisa, I've been following you for years. I'm really keen to invest. I know how much it is. I think I'm ready. Can I ask you some questions? They ask me some questions. I ask them some questions about what they're trying to do. We talk about the strategy that we would do. Does that sound like something we can do together? And then they're a yes. And it's as simple as that. I get the email, we have the call, the contract gets signed, the invoice gets paid. Because what these long term followers have that these new people coming through Google just don't have yet is trust and maybe a sense of precedence. They know who I am. They know I'm legit, just about. They know what I teach. They know that I show up. They know that I deliver. And I get a lot of comments around, I'm attracted to your energy, or I like your approach, it's different. But I can't convey that in one post. Maybe I can. I can't convey that in a week. It takes time. So consider this when you're doing your sales and marketing. 2 things you need to consider. The first one is you want to be introducing yourself to new people all of the time, whether it's posts on social media, networking, speaking, content, whatever. Ads, yes please. Webinars, yes please. You want to be introducing yourself to people all of the time, but then don't be upset when it takes them 3 to 6 months to convert. I think the market, the way it is now, everyone's had enough experience, everyone's been robbed, everyone's doubted what's possible because people promise the earth and then, of course, they can't deliver. This person has mindset blocks they need to work through, or this person needs to completely rebuild their offer, or this person does not have the audience that they told you when you first spoke to them. So it takes more time now for a new lead, a new inquiry, a new follower to actually convert to a customer, stay in the game, keep communicating, building trust. And the second thing is your content is your opportunity to sell down the risk. I've been given this example in SLT lately. I've bought 3 cheap backpacks and I'm ashamed to admit it. I thought, get yourself a bargain, Lisa, they look great. 2 of them came from a very well known retailer that I will not name and shame, but they were in the sale, 50% off. They were only 12 quid to begin with, and now they were 6. Well, Lisa, they were 50% off for a reason because you only got 50% of a backpack. Each backpack I used 2 or 3 times, and then the straps broke. And I thought, first I thought, that's horrible, I'm going to take it back. And then I thought, what's my argument going to be? I paid £6 for a backpack that I thought was going to protect my belongings on long train journeys to Leeds and Manchester and get roughed about with laptops and the 12 books I carry. And I paid £6 and I should be getting better quality. No, Lisa, pet, you got what you paid for, didn't you? So now I'm about to spend £170 on a backpack from a company that specialises in backpacks. Can I expect a different experience? Can I expect a different level of quality? Can I expect a different outcome? Of course I can. You're gonna get what you pay for. If your prices are a little bit higher, you have to work harder to show what is special and unique about you up front. So, where I'm going with this, remember I said that when you're building a relationship with somebody, what you're really doing is paying down the risk that it's not gonna work, okay? So if I pay £6 for a backpack, I've paid down no risk. The chances are that backpack is not gonna work. If I pay 170, 180 for a backpack, wonder if I get student discount. I shall investigate. If I spend that on a backpack, I'm paying down the risk up front that says, I think this backpack will last. That is what social media content is. That is what your marketing is. That is what your thought leadership, PDFs, opt-ins, videos, that is what that is. You are paying down the risk for the consumer, and the consumer is your client. If your client follows you for 6 months, they find you from a Google lead, they see a Facebook ad, they meet you networking, they see a post that had you tagged and this was such an inspiring event, and then they follow you. If over the following 6 months they see a video and they watch 10 minutes and that idea sits with them all day, the next month you share a PDF on the top 3 things that are happening in your industry that they want to be in, they download the PDF and read it, and it's so good they print it off and keep it by the side of their bed with your contact details, logo, name going into their mind, into their subconscious all of the time. If in the 3rd month you do a live event or a coffee morning or a webinar and they join, how much easier is it for them to give you money? Because that's what it comes down to. Every bit of content, whilst it takes an effort to make and whilst it takes time to produce, hello, I know, every single piece of content is you selling without you being there. It's you selling up front. And what's happening is the consumer, the buyer, the client, by consuming that content, they are paying down their risk. They're nervous about giving you their money. They're nervous about investing for themselves, for what else they could have used that money on, ads, the house, their family, a holiday, whether you're going to be good or not. And every time they read, watch, consume a bit of your content, what's happening is the risk that they perceive in making that investment is coming down, is coming down, is coming down. And the moment they make the investment is the moment they've tipped from she's a risk to she's an investment. The moment they make the investment, what's happened is they've tipped from it's a risk investing with this person to wow, this is an investment. I want what they've got. I believe they can deliver. How fast can I get in? Hello, can we book a call? Brilliant. How do I pay? That's how people buy from you. And on this, I say to my clients, why did you think someone was going to buy from you in a week or 3 weeks when it took you 6 months to a year to buy from me? You will sell how other people buy from you. If it's taking you 3, 6, 12 months to make a buying decision, it's probably going to take your customers the same length of time. You can speed it up by paying down the risk, by being more present, and by stepping them through in smaller steps. That's another reason I'm doing these live events, but I'm going to make a whole another video on that. In fact, I'll do it next week. That'll be the next video, okay? So does that make sense? When you're doing your marketing and you're positioning your content up front, you're paying down that risk, you're building that relationship, you're tipping from that person's a risk to invest in to that person's clearly an investment. I want in, I want that program, okay? 3rd point on making sales. I've had an online business for like 10 years, and for the last 4 years, since the C word that none of us want to mention anymore, since that dark time, I've been entirely online, as in barely left the house, didn't do any networking, didn't meet any clients in person. I've got hundreds of clients who I've never met. I feel like I've met them because of how often we speak on Zoom and WhatsApp, but I've never met them. Crazy. So about 4 months ago, September, October 2024, I've talked about this before. A couple of people close to me said, Lisa, if you really want to grow, go out in person. People need to feel your energy. You need to be speaking. That's what you've got to do. And I finally gave in and said, yeah, all right. There's other reasons linked to it, which I'll talk about in the next video. Please watch it because I think you'll really understand marketing and long-term strategy in that video. So for a few other reasons, I surrendered, I gave in. I said, fine, I'm going to launch this Dare to Grow Live event series. And in doing that, I thought I had a really good network in all of these local cities. Turns out I don't. I've got a really great community online, but there's 3 people in Leeds, 2 people in Bradford, 1 person in Leicester, 6 in Coventry. It's so dispersed, and it's not even just the UK, it's beyond. I've got clients in America, Dubai, the usual story for an online business. how grateful. I shouldn't be so flippant about that because it's freaking amazing. But when I went to sell the event in Leeds, I really found it hard because guess what, guys? I don't have a network in Leeds. So when I started going networking out in the world to improve my networks in these local areas and, get in and be gritty and try and get more opportunities to speak and practice and do all of that good stuff, I'll explain this in the other video, I realised how easy it was to waste your time, to spend a whole day travelling to a city, going to the event, being tired from the event, coming back, faffing on your emails. Whereas if I was home, I could have done 4 client calls, I could have filmed 3 videos, I could have edited 2 episodes. There's so much you can do at home when you wake up, you get showered and dressed, you put your slippers on, back on, and you've got a list of tasks. The act of travelling, getting out of the house, getting dressed, putting your makeup on, the nerves, the adrenaline, you go networking, you have the coffee and the travel back. God, you could waste a whole day doing it, a whole week. And even this week, I've been to a couple of events where I've been to the events, we all did our little pitch, and people pass their business cards around and you take them. You could come back to your desk and be behind and do your emails and your social and your content and not follow up with any of those leads. If you go networking, you've got to be so much more intentional about it. You've got to go, shake hands, meet people, and then you've got to think, who are the 2 or 3 most interesting people in this room? For me, everyone's interesting, I'm sure. And follow up and say, let's connect on LinkedIn. Let me take you for a coffee. I want to understand your business. Let's see if there's an opportunity for us to work together here. You've got to get on their website, understand their needs. You've got to make some content that they then see because you're now connected. There's a difference, and it's hard to articulate this, but there's a difference from just posting on social media and going to a networking event and ticking the box and telling your coach or your mentor that you did that, or even your partner, how's business going? It's so easy to say that you're busy because you posted on social media or you went to a networking event, but that isn't actually how you sell. Selling is so much more strategic, deliberate, effortful, and pronounced. Selling, if I really want to make sales, I'd be thinking, is the product ready? Is it live? Am I clear who the customer is? It's banging, okay? And then I'm going to think, right, I'm going to try and get 10 people into this product, or I'm going to win 3 customers in this space. So where are those people? What is it they're looking for? And then I'm going to go out with such a strong intention to find those customers. And the way that I've done this recently is when I go networking, I don't say, hey guys, I'm a business coach, I'm looking for clients, because if you ask for clients, you get advice. If you ask for advice, you get clients. That's what happens. So instead, I've been saying, guys, I'm really new to in person, but I've been delivering these seminars and webinars online for years on how to help people make real money, on the truth about marketing. I talk about video, ads, social. If anyone is looking for a speaker into their networking group, I would love to come in. I don't charge. So if anyone knows anyone, please, here's my card or here's my link. Would you keep me in mind? Now, if I make an impression and I sound good and I sound compelling and the energy's there, and they take my card and they scan and they maybe watch 1 or 2 videos, all of a sudden I've gone from being one person at a networking event, taking the naff coffee, having a biscuit, speaking to 6 people, maxed out, to Lisa, could you be the guest speaker at our next event? I've got 30 of your ideal customer in a room. Come and do your 20 minutes or your 30-minute talk on this topic, and let's go from there. It's so powerful. You go from being one person who's like in the mix of the event to all of a sudden you're at the front of the room and you're the one commanding those people's attention. And guess what? You get to do what I talked about before. You start paying down the risk by leading with value. So if you get that opportunity or you follow that strategy, this is not the time to talk about your business, because guess what? No one cares. It's boring. This is the time to deliver something that blows people's socks off, because what you're trying to do is elevate you in their mind. You want them to remember your name. You want them to look to you to go, that person has something of value that I want, that I need. I'm going to get closer to that person. So the talk has to be the best thing that you can deliver. It's got to be something people would pay you for. It's got to be something coming straight out of your group program. It's got to be the latest insight and wisdom you've got because you've been in that market for 6 years. What do you know? Share it. No one's going to look at what you've just said and be like, oh, I've got everything I need now. I won't be working with that person, because all that happens is it opens their mind, it lifts their energy. And it helps them realize that there's more to learn. And wow, look at this amazing person who can help me with this very niche problem. So I'm not saying that is the strategy to employ, but what I'm saying is it is so easy to waste your time and say, I've been to 3 networking events. You've got to ask, what impact am I having? And I just challenged a client the other day who said, I'm going networking every week. And I said, listen, you've got to make a deal with me. You've got to take 2 people that you meet networking, you've got to take them for lunch or coffee and you're buying. And they said, right. I said, so this means if you're networking and you keep talking to the same couple of people, you're taking them out for dinner, you're taking them out for a coffee. So if they're not interesting, you can't see a link, there's no business or collaboration to be had there, you need to move on. So this might be a bit naughty, but I said, don't ever fill your coffee cup or your teacup full. Just put a couple of drops in it because people are awkward about leaving the conversation. But if you go, I'm just going to go fill up my coffee and walk around a little bit, it's a much easier way to break away from that conversation. And you've got to go to the next person and the next person because you're looking for that person who is looking for you. And you've got to take a couple of them for lunch, for coffee, and see what comes of it. You've got to connect and start building those relationships. If you did that, the impact on your business, it wouldn't take long for you to feel it and for you to not be able to go networking anymore because you've got so many opportunities, invitations to speak, and then things start coming out of the back of that, okay? This is another reason why I've got this networking event, the Dare to Grow Live. It's £35 a ticket at the moment. It's such an easy way. If I meet somebody and they're impressed or they can feel something or they're like, oh, what's that person got? Webinars, yeah, they could go on a webinar, but there's something about that that people just know it's going to be a sell. But if I say I'm running this event and then they go on my website and my profile and they see photos of the event, there's a buzz, they see testimonials, feedback, a video, and this is what I'm building right from the first event. I started taking photographs, writing stories, getting testimonials because that is marketing. If I meet them and I go, oh yeah, you could book a discovery call and it's 5k to work one-to-one with me, how many people are going to go, wow, Lisa, I don't know who you are and I don't trust you and absolutely, here's my bank details? No one. But if I go, I'm an online coach, I specialise in XYZ, but the best thing you can do is get yourself along to one of these events because in the workshop, I talk you through the strategy of how to market and grow your business. Lunch is there, you get to meet 30 other people in the room. That's an easy sell, isn't it? And that's why the events aren't just a product in themselves, they are marketing to the next thing, okay? Are you seeing this, guys? I hope this is starting to sink in. Not everything you do can lead to a customer. You can't say that marketing was naff because nothing came of it, or that event didn't work, or that webinar didn't work, because what you're trying to do is build a brand in the market, build a reputation. And all that reputation or brand is the last 30, 40 things that person associated with you. If they met you once, they don't know who you are, they can't remember, forget it. If they've met you a couple of times, something's starting to happen, they connect on LinkedIn, you're sharing value, there's photos of you out and about, you're talking about this webinar, this event, this success, this award, then you share a video, thought leadership piece. That is the tip towards actually making sales. It's so much more active than what people realize. Is it sinking in? Are you seeing this? Please let me know in the comments. Honestly, please, I'm a real person. I need to know, did this sink in or do you have questions? Last thing I want to share on this and then we'll wrap up. And funnily, I thought, Lisa, try and keep these videos a bit shorter. Who wants a 40-minute video? And yet here we are on our way to minute 30, aren't we? I can just tell. But you know, good stuff takes time to explain. So here's the last thought on this. What would it look like for you to take a risk using one of your skills or a gift that you have that is really unique to you? What would it look like to take a risk? I think that when you are marketing and selling in your business for real, it will feel like a risk. It won't feel safe. It will feel like a risk. Not a risk where you've remortgaged your house to take money out to put in ads. Not that kind of a risk. It's more of a vulnerability kind of a risk where you're taking a punt on something that you've got a really good feeling could work, but there is also a very strong chance that it could fail. So these Dare to Grow Live events for me is that risk. I know, and it's taken me years to realise this, so forgive how flippant this might sound, but I know that I was born with a gift to speak, to articulate ideas, to bring people together, to inspire community. I'm not even going to take any credit for that. I think I was born with it. I think it's a gift from God. I also think you have a gift like that as well. It could be speaking, it could be community, it could be organising, it could be making people feel calm, excited, positive, dealing with imposter syndrome, you've got it. You need to know what that gift is. I think if you identify that gift or that magic within you and you surrender like I did and you take a risk and you put something out in the world that could fail and would feel uncomfortable if it did fail, I think that is probably the key to you turning on a bigger brand, having a bigger impact and making more sales in your business. So just to tell you, I told this story at one of the lives a few weeks ago. The first event I ever ran, I spent £800. I had no clue what I was doing. I was 22 in work and I did it on a weekend, and I spent £800 so I could email a database of people about this event live, or it was something like that. I booked a room, I got catering, I got a guest speaker, and 2 friends were coming to help me at this event. And people started booking the free tickets. I thought, oh, brilliant, you know, this is going to work. I turned up at the event, and as the time went on and nobody started to turn up, I thought, oh my God, maybe they've got the venue wrong, dates wrong. So I emailed everybody who'd opted in, said, yes, I want to come to this event. And nobody replied. So I emailed everybody on the list who'd opted in and said, yes, I'm coming. I said, hey, just checking you've got the right location, right venue. I had all the seats laid out. And the worst thing ever, I think, that could have happened did happen. I think it would have been better if nobody turned up. But worse than that, one person turned up to this event. One person, with my guest speaker, my little canapes, my little glasses of orange juice. And it was so awkward for them walking into this event and being like, where is everybody? That I actually took this person to do a one-to-one coaching session with them in one of the rooms down the corridor, because it was so awkward. And the whole time, I have to be honest, I wasn't coaching that person. I couldn't concentrate. I was cringing. I was thinking about my guest speaker, my friends. I was thinking about how humiliating this is, what a failure I am. And that's how I started running events, because events, like webinars, like coaching programs, they're not easy to fill. People won't come because they want to support you or because it seems interesting enough. The reason's got to be compelling. You've got to be compelling. I'm not saying run events. I think it could be good if you want to do it, but yours could be something completely different that I can't even think of because it's so unique to you. What is that thing that you are good at? What is that thing that you know when you're doing it, it actually makes sales? It could be going live on Instagram once a week. It could be running a community group in Facebook, or, you know, some kind of micro community membership, something like that. It could be when you go into schools and do guest talks, or what is that thing that you know that when you do it, it leads to engagement, collaboration, questions. And if you were to really commit to that for a year, you would feel the difference. So the question is, what is that thing that is unique to you, that is special to you, a gift that you've got, that if you were to actually take a risk and put yourself out there and commit to it, that you think could actually lead to new conversations, new opportunities, and new sales in your business? If you're feeling brave, put it in the comments below, because I'm keen to see what ideas people have other than just running live events, which is obviously the one that I've gone for. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you want to find out more about Straight Line Through and working with me, check the show notes below. There's going to be a link to a video you can watch to find out all about it. If you've got any questions, email me, and if there's anything you want me to answer, hit subscribe, leave a comment, let me know, and I will get on it like Sonic. Over and out.